Well, I wanted to kind of ask a few general questions before we round things up here. And these are more silly questions, but they're kind of fun to ask. I'm going to start with Valian. What is your absolute favorite raiding instance of all time?
Sunwell.
Why?
I like the difficulty and the general boss encounter design.
Excellent. A lot of people mention Sunwell. That's very good. Chucky, do you agree that there should be an underwater raiding instance?
Ooh. I could see it work, but judging from past experience, I don't think it's gonna be good. And if it, yeah, if it would be done really really good, yes. But if it's gonna be half-assed, no, definitely not.
Yeah, I'm never going to get anyone to sign my petition for an underwater raiding instance.
I'll do it.
Definitely not.
Thanks, Flair.
I
All right, Flair's on
remember.
my side. Are
I
you a
remember
druid?
Moss actually during the Anchorage quest line. You actually had to fight a shark out in the water. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, see, some of us like that, and it's okay to be in that weird three-dimensional sort of playing experience, you know. I mean, then that leads me to the next question, Flair, and I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm just going in reverse alphabetical order here. If you were to design a raid boss encounter, like what would it be like? And just to give you some perspective, we've had suggestions of stick figure raid bosses before, and Ark suggested a Excel spreadsheet raid boss, which I really couldn't take very seriously. But what would you like to see that you've never seen in the game before?
Wow, that's really hard to say, to be honest. Personally, I'm the kind of guy that really, I don't care that much about the bosses themselves, to be honest. It's like healing, you know. There's very few times when you have to do different things than healing. You heal your team. It's like one time in ICC they decided, okay, this boss you're gonna have to heal to win the fight. And I think it's more or less about just finding a good concept, to be honest. And then the bosses don't matter that much. But that's from my point of view then.
Very good. Okay. Padme just suggested in the chat screen, and I feel a little bit affected by this because he'd like a boss that involves jumping like Thaddeus for the whole encounter. So, and I have to say that, you know, we all have our weakness. And maybe you guys don't, but some of us usual people have our weaknesses when it comes to raiding. And for me, it's actually jumping. I'm really bad at jumping in any type of video/computer game, which is why I don't play a lot of video games. Because as you say, Super Mario is all about the jumping. So
You need to
I
play
don't
Druid
know.
then.
Can I play a druid? Did you say?
Yes.
You need
And
to
you,
learn it. You have to jump in specific directions depending on what spell you're casting, of instance. And then you have
Oh
to stand
my
still to
god.
do your casting
know-
spells. It requires it's like, okay, I'm gonna jump left, this is insects, I'm gonna jump right, this is moonfire, and then you know where they sort of are in their rotation. And when they're standing still, you know, it's big dummies coming out.
Actually, a funny memory of one thing that involves not directly jumping, maybe falling, about Thaddeus. I remember in original Naxxramas there was a thread about Thaddeus on the forums because the first phase you deal with those two ads up on the platforms, and then you had to jump down to Thaddeus, and you couldn't actually walk down there. And I remember there was a thread on one of the RP forums that there was a guy on the role-playing realm that he was playing in that his character was actually crippled, so he couldn't run. So he could actually not get to the platform. And I don't remember if there was some rules they had about not using levitate or anything, but that actually got like, quite a bit of blue post as well. And yeah, I'm not sure if they actually think about that when they design bosses, but yeah, that was just a funny thing.
Yeah, that's pretty. I imagine they probably can't think through everything. So, and I got to go back though, because Trekkie also wrote a pretty hilarious comment about we need an elevator boss. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Trekkie, and how that would work exactly?
guess you haven't done surfs, Ryan.
Yeah, and there should be like 2 elevators and then 2 mobs or whatever, and then you jump between them. And every wipe is never that the bosses kill you; it's always you jumping on the elevator after it started going down. So you just fall to your death. But then you stack paladins or mages or whatever who can slow fall.
That could be interesting where the idea of multiple deaths works to your advantage somehow in the boss fight.
Well, what if you pick up bombs and you jump onto the boss and then fall damage and explode?
Okay.
Use your teammates as ammunition, shooting them from a cannon on the boss. They die in the process.
Yeah.
I think I know why you guys are better off remaining the raiders and not necessarily the raid boss designers. So, all the poor gnomes. Padme. I don't want to read just so everyone knows, the guys keep typing comments in our little TeamSpeak chat screen, and it's hard not to laugh because some of them are a bit outrageous. So, but okay. What is your absolute Padme? What is your absolute favorite boss fight that does exist in the game?
In the whole game,
In the whole game, and everything but the game.
I don't.
In all the game.
It might sound a bit, I don't know, silly to some people because I've been playing since vanilla, and I've encountered every encounter since vanilla. Probably no, not some in Maximus, but my favorite encounter is from Cataclysm, and I'd say it's the Omnitron Defense Council before it was nerfed, obviously. I don't know, I just loved this encounter as a mage, probably mainly because you were doing like 300, 400 Ks critical, but the encounter itself I felt was really good. I mean, you had everything to do, debuff to check, interrupts to do, moving from AoE, blah blah blah. There was everything involved, and what I liked also about the how you say that, the general strategy of the encounter was just staying in the middle of the room and relying on no one to fuck up. Everyone knew what they had to do when something was happening, and that's the kind of encounter I like.
Yeah, it's sort of like the experience of the encounter, not just the encounter, that can be a positive experience.
And also the fact that in the very first place, before there was an enrage timer, people used to play it really, really safe with like 8 or 9 healers, and the encounter was 14, 15 minutes. That's great as well. And you have to be 100% focused for 15 whole minutes. Method didn't do that though. Just about DPS, and raping the boss. But that was fun as well.
It's been about DPS. Method.
Yeah, you guys often in my discussions with you will highlight your exceptional DPS skills as a guild. So, is that true? I mean, do you still feel that way? Is it just that the DPS just likes to talk about their epic skills, and the healers and the tanks just kind of let them talk about it, or do you think that that's a sort of very special skill that you guys have as a guild?
You mean talking about the DPS a lot? Or?
Yeah, there's a bit of posturing flair
definitely.
about how awesome the DPS guys are. You know, they're just so good.
From my point of view, I definitely say there is something special about Method there. There is this part of this elitist thing. I think some people like to talk about it more than others, but some obviously think like this general like, okay, I'm pulling more DPS than you, I'm a better player, etc. While in some cases it may be true, I do think there is a lot of talking about it, sometimes trash talking. Most of it is in good spirit, though, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an understandable thing, considering the demographic and the sort of gender element of your guild. It's sort of to be expected, and the competitive orientation. So, yeah. So I don't want to ask you to name names because I realize this is awkward, but do you all kind of know quietly who is like your best player in the guild? Would you know, like mentally, if I were to ask you that, would you have a name that comes to mind?
As a single player, like only one player.
Possibly, or that's a bit unfair. But at the same time, with the way that we're playing now, where we've got multiple alts, and we're kind of farming in different ways, and we're sort of bringing up people. There's usually a few people can always play any class, any spec, anything, any role, any function in the raid, and they just seem to be the all-around just a really good player. Do you have those guys in the guild?
Yeah, I'm not sure about any class, but there is one name that pops into mind when like progressing on different, well, maybe two names actually, that swaps between characters that we actually used in those roles as well.
What do you think makes them good at that, Flair? Like, is there a certain innate ability, or do you think that they've got sort of they're just really naturally gifted with gaming?
Either it's that they maybe don't get attached to one class, but there should obviously be something else that, yeah, maybe they're just standing out the game in general.
Well, it could also be because the main is a hunter, and the role could be very, very useful, and we don't actually have any mains covering that role. I mean, that could be a really good option in Dragon Soul, at least.
Could be.
Okay. Like I said, I realized I was asking an awkward question because I wasn't trying to put someone out there, but I just wondered because I think in every guild there's usually even the most casual and kind of relaxed raiding guild, there's usually one or two people that just seem to just be naturally better at playing games than other people, especially when it comes to response time and anticipation and things of that nature. So it's kind of good. Right, I'm gonna ask some silly questions now. Henderson, would you rather have different colored eyes or a streak of white hair, like a streak of white in your hair?
In
What
World
kind
of
of question is
Warcraft.
that?
It's a silly question. Welcome to silly question section.
I would like to have that paid in gold, please.
Wait, what? Say that again.
Neither. I would have it in gold.
No, you can't modify the question. I'm really this is a bad habit of the guys when I ask these
Cheating, man.
questions. You guys try to negotiate the terms of the question. No, you have to choose. There's a gun to your head, and I'm saying, do you want your eyes to be blue and green, or do you want a streak of white in your hair?
A streak of white, because I never see my eyes on my character.
Well, I meant you as a person, not your character.
As a person, not my character.
Yeah, you, the guy that runs your characters.
I don't want a streak of white in my hair. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Blue eyes. Fuck it.
Okay. Wow, I had no idea that this would be a difficult question. I'm sorry.
It's
Only
male
fair.
gamers. It's not female.
Okay.
It's one of those questions where it doesn't really matter because none of them are really bad.
No, they're like weird judgmental choices. Okay, I'm going to ask Valiant. I'm asking you the next question. Let's see if we can demonstrate to Henderson the correct way to answer these questions. Would you rather eat a spider that's been dipped in chocolate or drink a margarita, meaning like an alcoholic drink, that's been blended with mushed up flies?
Spider.
See, that wasn't so hard, Henderson.
That's
Do you
because
see?
that question is really fucking obvious.
But it depends how big the spider is.
Well, see, that's the point. I mean, you have to make a judgment call, and other people might choose to drink it because it's been mushed up and they don't have to chew it. You see, so, and flies may have better protein value. I'm not sure. So, all right, Flair, would you rather be Spider-Man or Superman?
Superman.
That one's easy. This is not even fair.
How is that easy?
Would you rather be
These are
invulnerable and
Okay,
extremely
who
strong,
knew
shoot webs?
Method would be so bad at these questions? No, it's not an easy. They're not difficult or easy questions.
It's so easy because Superman can do everything Spider-Man can do. Plus, he has like X-ray vision, laser sight, and he can fly, and he can do 10 times more stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of people would rather be Spider-Man. So I
No.
don't. Yeah, no, that's true. You know? Okay. All right. Here's another question. Trekkie, would you rather be a woman for an hour, or be a man with no penis for an hour?
A woman.
Good for you. Go Swedes. So, all right. Okay. Here's an interesting question. Henderson, I'm asking you again. Will you please try this
Okay.
time?
Okay.
Right. Would you rather... Now, this is where you'd have to go out and about. You couldn't hide in the house all day, okay? Would you rather be naked for a day, but follow your normal activity, like go to school and go to work or whatever? Or would you rather be asleep for a full year?
Be asleep for a full year.
Wow. You'd rather give up a whole year
I
because...
don't go out
Well-
daily, so I'd have to come up with stuff I'd have to do
Don't go out
naked
daily.
for till
Oh.
day.
Why
So-
don't you go out daily?
Go out for a run.
Because I quit my job because I'm gonna study at some and I have enough money. It's a really long, like, thingy, but yeah, I don't have a job at the moment because I decided not to because it's long story. But
Okay.
yeah, and sleeping for a year, you wake up after a year and you'll be like, what happened since last time? And you'll get to find out a lot of funny stuff. Like
Yeah, imagine our forums after a year and you know.
yeah, that's like Facebook with 1,000 friends you have to go through after a year. It would be the same business pretty much.
We could do live streaming of Henderson sleeping for a year. I think it'd be really popular.
Dexter does that already on the stream.
I don't
Well, you
know.
could be the EU version, so, you know.
I can't stream. I mean, and that's not even a
Go
lie. I
on.
have the worst internet in the world.
200k people who are watching an eagle in its nest for a month, so I think people might be
true.
watching Anderson.
I suppose so.
That
I've actually
eagle
seen
was
that at
asleep.
Yellowstone. So, all right, Flair, if you could pick one place in the world that you would visit, where would you go that you haven't been to before?
Japan,
Why?
because I'm into their whole culture and manga, anime kinds of things.
Very cool. Padme, if you were required to learn a new language, what would you learn?
That I don't know already.
Finish? Hello?
No,
So obvious.
no, that I don't know
Okay,
already.
learn
But,
English. You
oh.
guys are terrible. So he's trying. It's really good. He's trying. He's actually very good at English for a French guy. So
you
right,
prefer
okay,
when I
Trekkie.
speak English like this?
Yeah, we like your French accent. So Trekkie, would you rather only have access to your computer for 5 hours a day, or give up your mobile phone?
I'd give up my mobile phone.
Oh, you guys aren't texting him enough, obviously.
Well, Flag calls me sometimes.
Indeed.
You do? You call him sometimes? You need to call him more often. I think he's feeling neglected.
You can. Well, I have a crappy phone, so for me it's not really much of a choice.
You guys need to get like a sponsor that will give you guys free phones. So
Samsung, please.
gamer phones, radar phones. So
Yeah, go
all right.
Razer.
Well, those are all my silly questions. They weren't so bad, were they?
But they were easy compared to what you've previously done.
Well, I have more questions, but you know, Henderson he completely went mental on me. He couldn't cope. You guys couldn't cope with the questions, so
weird question. For me, as a person, I don't know. It was just a weird question.
Well, they're not meant to be straightforward. Okay, here, I'll ask you another question. Would you rather die from cancer or a heart attack?
Heart attack.
Okay. Would you rather be really short but good looking or really tall and ugly?
Small and
When
pretty
I
or
say
tall and
when I say
ugly?
really short, I mean like 1.4 meters or something.
Or tall and ugly.
Okay, very good.
And then small and pretty. Small and pretty. I would be. That's more fun.
Small and pretty. Okay.
Yeah, it's more fun.
All right. Very good. Were those good? Any other questions you guys want to ask each other?
What about baguettes?
Do you like baguettes, Padme?
Yeah, all the time. I eat them all the time.
What's your favorite filling in a baguette?
Nutella or
Seriously?
butter and sugar. Depends.
Oh,
Why?
good. Well, no,
Sugar
that's
is
cool. That's
better.
cool. Oh, Valian, what do you guys have for breakfast in Denmark?
Yeah, let's hear this.
Americans are going to want to know
depends
this.
when I wake up. But
Sandwiches.
usually yogurt with Nestle.
is really healthy. You know, you're breaking the stereotype of gamers.
Standard cereal is what we eat in Denmark, like cornflakes and havregryn and yogurt and stuff like that. Pretty
You're not
standard
having
in
like
Denmark.
bread with toppings, like sliced cheese and a bit of meat
No.
or something. No.
No
Boba.
bread. There's some that does bread, but I don't think it's that normal. Depends
You
where
don't
else,
have
though.
bread in Denmark. They don't
We
have
do have
bread
bread
in
in
Denmark.
Denmark, but it's just not like you don't eat it for breakfast. Kind of like maybe if you wake up late in the weekend, then yeah, because it's so late. But normally not. It's not a breakfast thing.
Cool. And would you say that all of you are night owls in that you prefer to stay up late and get up late in the
Yes.
day?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in Method who's different? Like one of the guys that goes to bed as soon as the raid's over and
Probably
tends to get up at a normal
Go.
hour?
Sko is usually the first one to say that he needs to go to bed.
You guys just wear him out.
Probably.
Stina does.
Okay, that's another topic for another subject.
And the gym, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot to do really, and he's carried the guild for so long, hasn't he? All of you have. So very nice actually. So well, we're done with the interview. So if you guys want to say any thanks or farewells, so don't know if you want to say anything.
I just wanted to add one thing about Mists of Pandaria.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm sorry, I forgot to ask. Yeah, please do.
Every hardcore raider and world first material raider apply to method if you want to be first. And I hope sincerely for you that they change something about LFR and make it available like 2 months after the patch is released. Otherwise, you're going to suffer in Mists of Pandaria for 2 months.
We're gonna get raped the first week. It's gonna be no sleep. If LFR is available the first week, we are not gonna get to sleep. It's that simple.
So I can check in on you guys while you're not sleeping for a whole week. That will
Yeah.
actually be really fun. I should see if I can record that for my research. Your deteriorating mental state.
If anyone that has anything to do with LFR in Mist hear this, just make it unavailable the first reset, please. For the love of anyone.
Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty reasonable request. I wonder if there's a way for us to pass this along in a more formal way. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. And that concludes my interview with the members of Method. I'd like to thank them very much for their participation, and thanks to you all for listening. Talk to you next time. Bye.